Why Alliance decided to go with Jug though here and now.
He can go toe-to-toe with Gyro and Shadow Fiend with Spin and Omni Slash. He's notoriously good versus Shadow Fiend.
Very true, but I think the Winter Riven is actually a fairly decent counter pick towards the Jugger.
Yeah.
On his Spin you have the ultimate as well as you have your protection for your cores once the Omni Slashes on them. I'm still trying to figure out why the second pick Bounty Hunter to me. Usually there's some connection in it, how he's been played out, but I can't really grasp it here. On the other side, Bounty Hunter has been, I think, what I heard from K-pop, one of the highest ELO win ratio heroes.
Oh.
So it's one of those when you have teams that go toe-to-toe, that it has a very successful win rate. So maybe that goes for it.
And you look at Burden United, they already see that early Bounty Hunter, so they pick supports that are not going to be easy to pick off from a Bounty Hunter. You got the very fat and takey Ogre Magi with his ridiculous armor and body weight to go along with it. And of course, Winter Wyvern, who's got that Cold Embrace. He's got ways to quickly just kind of dodge out that heal and have some time for his allies to come and be by his side. So I am also going to be a bit concerned about this Bounty Hunter and what his impact will be in the game. And just to talk more about it, Winter Wyvern, back again. We found a lot of success with London Conspiracy as they were going against the Tiny Wisp. That felt really good with his Winter's Curse. You know, it was a pretty obvious grab, but here, I don't know.
I view Bounty Hunter as like a different flavor of tree. It's far more offensive, not as much anti-BKB, but he has a lot more burst with the Shuriken, as opposed to like an AoE overgrowth, and then track really helps with kiting and keeping people alive. It's how a lot of teams have been playing it nowadays as a support, and Tree is just not good versus a lot of the popular heroes. Like Gyrocopter Living Armor is absolutely useless. So, and he's also able to roam around a lot more effectively at level 1. So I would say he's like an evolved version of Treant, and teams play him like that.
So it does look like the Leshrac as the core in middle for Pyket here, as well as having the Juggernaut for Loda. Most likely on the safe lane. I do notice
I looked back actually. Through the last 30 games that Alliance have played, they have not played Leshrac on either Loda or Pycat. So
maybe scrims. You know, they always could be scrimming with it.
It's the old school stuff. Like both Pycat and Loda are very, very old players.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, they've both played a considerable amount of Leshrac in their time.
Yeah. Finger on the Lion now, popping up. You get that additional burst here, so there's the rounded out lineup from Alliance. It's kind of a almost dead giveaway on how they're going to be sorting this one out. So is that a bit of an advantage now for Burden United, because it seems almost kind of cut and dry at this point as far as what Alliance are going to be planning to do? Or is there a way they can kind of change this up a bit in the early laning stage to kind of throw off Burden United? Because I almost feel like they're going to have the upper hand. But then again, it's Alliance after all, and maybe they just feel that confident that their skill alone will be able to really succeed with that.
It's kind of difficult to get the upper hand up against this, because like, what are we looking at here? You got a Clockwork offlane, difficult to kill. You got a Bounty Hunter harassing you out, and you're always going to be watching the back of your SF. You've got Lion, who I think was actually the greatest last pick ever, because now they can actually have a lot more disable, and they've got potential for initiation, which beyond the Bounty and the Clockwork they didn't really have, and that could blow up in the face with what Winter Wyvern brings to that lineup.
Oh, that here was supposed to... I thought he died.
He actually got three games in the Chinese qualifier.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I did see on one of my other teams, I was like scouting up through, I want to say, maybe not Hellraisers, but Yellow Submarine actually, they actually still run the Bat Rider. Now, his jungling, not quite the same as it used to be. It's much more difficult. There is a few changes that I guess you can look at in a sense to be a bit more positive. His Flame Break is now more of it's over time, not an instant burst. Bat right.
I mean, it still gives you BKB disable.
Yes.
So, in a sense, I think the lineup of Burden United here is very strong to me. Like, the team fight is very solid. Everyone is kind of like tanky. It's a very robust kind of lineup. On the side of Alliance, you look at, to me, it looks very like you have to make plays happen. You're like in and out of a fight. You don't really take that 5-on-5 against this against Burden here, but you still like you get these quick pickoffs. Yeah. And I assume that's going to be the way that potentially Alliance is going to approach this game.
Yeah, I'm worried about the Winter Wyvern. I don't know if he's going to have that big of an impact. The only thing Cold Embrace is good against is Juggernaut, and he has so many ways that they can just die during Cold Embrace with all the magic damage. On top of that, he can just get caught out really quickly. So I'm curious to see if he's going to be impactful. He wasn't in the NA qualifiers, in the finals, or lower bracket finals.
Yeah, it's very sketchy.
Well,
you got to consider that with the timing and call down, it could be a bit finicky.
I think it's time to leave you two alone so you can get some personal time with BU and Alliance.
Thank you
So
very
enjoy
much.
the game, man.
All right, Hani, it's me and you. This is going to be our first time casting together, but I'm sure it's going to be a pleasure. So what do you think? Now you see the draft, you see the possible laning setup here as they look to kind of flirt around this rune area. What are your early impressions? Do you already think one team is going to have an early upper hand, or is this going to come down to who can really outperform?
On this side of Burden United here, I just think the draft seems very like sticky. You know, you go into it, it's
Is that goes Bat Rider?
I did not mean I did not mean to go there, but I just feel it's a bit more versatile to me being Alliance here. You get your pickoffs, you can push if you want to, but if something on the side of Burden does not really work out, I feel like you have the gang potential is not entirely there to me. You have a Bat Rider, sure,
Yeah.
but it seems like you have a lot more plays to do if you're Alliance here.
I'm really curious. If that Bat Rider can make it past what is his new, very fragile early farm, early level phase that he can't really, utilize like he did once before, his late game is always what it was. Great initiator, great lockdown that goes through that BKB and he can set up the plays here. Early on, a little bit of harassment coming from both sides, just kind of asserting their dominance. But Bat Rider's not coming at it alone. He's got his good buddy Ogre to kind of help him out here. So they are making sure this Bat Rider has a relatively good time, and they're making sure that Loda does not have a good time, giving him that extra bit of pressure. He certainly does not like that sticky stuff. He's going to have to fall back on an early wand to make sure that he has the charges ready to go. And I was kind of also scouting out, for Matt on this Bounty Hunter, I was curious if he's going to hang around that mid lane, going for the early courier snipe, but maybe that might be too predictable. But for now, he's still going to be tussling around the top lane.
I actually wonder why I didn't point it out that you have the Ogre plus Bat Rider bottom. It used to be that there was a phase where you played these two heroes on the offlane very often together, and I was in team where that happened very often. I had a phase where I also played with Minats in the team. It's just a very strong dual offlane because both react on slow. Sticky is a pretty good spell when you have another slow factor in your composition, and Ogre is just so tanky. Just like Bat Rider, it's a nuisance to play against that on the lane. And on the side of there was some engagement, but not much happening. So continuing to my thought, Jay, on this side of Alliance, you just have to watch out on that lane. It's just, in the very start, if you make a mistake, that lane can snowball very hard.
Lots of slow, all that sweet fire to stack on top of the napalm could be very deceptive and something Loda might need to look out for and make sure he has that help nearby. But it's not very defensive support help. It's just Lion. So Lion doesn't really get to be that bully. It's Ogre who's got all that sweet meat on the bones that can really kind of be the bouncer for the lane. So my nuts is not going to be too scared about the presence that's coming his way. I mean, look at Ake's already got like 6 shots on him, and you wouldn't really think that by the look of him. But here's Mad now, makes his adventure all the way from the top lane, and he's kind of scouting out.
He actually attempted a body block there, being in the wind walk.
It
looks quite hilarious.
Yeah, he's like walking in front of him. Smell my ghost farts, I guess. I don't know. It just doesn't really work that way. So he'll eat the early ignite, and he's going to be forced to walk away. Bat Rider gets the creeps right under the tower, and now, because Ogre's gone, he gets some sweet solo XP. So he can kind of get a bit more levels, and he's about to be level 4 at about 3 minutes in. So this is a good, strong start for Paris on his Bat Rider.
It actually looks like very good dual offlane here, and like you were mentioning, they're getting their levels. And on the side of Alliance, you have to question yourself, is it good enough what Jugger gets right now on that lane? He seems to be in quite a struggle.
7-2 CS.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, that's not too great. So we'll see if the struggle kind of continues here. I mean, you could tell that their focus on this bottom lane is very apparent on the side of Alliance. They continue to have Mad coming by, being there just to kind of help out. They have left Bulldog on his clockwork in the off lane. It seems like he's doing okay. He's 9-0 as far as CS goes. As for his level, he's level 4, but I must have cast or cursed him, because the second I point that out, they're going to make the go on to Bulldog now that the help is not there, and they're going to be getting the first blood, and of all people, it goes to Sing Sing on the gyro. They worked that out well, but on the other side of the world, chaos continues to break out. Now they're able to take down my nuts. The Ogre will fall, but that's in exchange for Ake also going down. Still an advantage there for Burden United. So quick and fast bloodshed coming out here, Hani.
It's not looking good at all for the side of Alliance here. I'm still trying to figure out what is Bounty actually doing in this game. So far, he has not really achieved anything. The comparison I always have when there's Bounty is mouse boards. Paladai, they pick it in the first 2 as well. Initiation on
Yeah, they slow him a bit. The spin's there, plus the nice little toss, and hey, that gets it done. So I guess that's a reverse caster curse. You're kind of asking, what is Bounty Hunter getting done here? Well, he gets something done there, honey, so I hope you're happy. But now they managed to even the score up. Loda gets the help, gets an additional kill there. I believe he was the one who scored it, but still, very profitable for them in that off lane.
If you look at the mid lane, it looks like Pycat is actually stomping that mid matchup.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And
29
that
and
is
9.
not to be expected to me.
15
I think
oh.
SF should be doing all right.
Yeah, you know, usually it's, you know, by the time he gets his level 4, level 5, he's got more into the raises, and I like that use of the illusions to get the double stack on each of the camps, which it looks like he's going to have to use at this point because of how he's getting bullied in this lane. But yeah, oh boy, it doesn't stop though. Here comes a nice rotation in from Aki in the north side, leading with the Hex. They got the stun, and I love that Leshrek with his new weapon kind of jabs him right down. So with that, just when we're getting ready to praise Burden United in this early laning phase, Alliance are able to shake it off. And now they start going and finding all the kills. So they now get one pretty much across the board. It's hard to say who's kind of taking control of the laning phase at this point.
I just think it's so important for the side of Alliance here that Pycat is, again, in this kind of leading position. He's winning his lane by a tremendous amount, and he has to be that force that brings him a victory. Like, he is the player pretty much that makes Alliance, you know, like push them upwards, bring them into that comfortable position, whereas Loda can catch up then from there.
It's almost inspiring. He gets out there, he does his flashy movement, he gets these big early kills, and the confidence you can feel almost builds up around it behind him. They begin to thrive at that point. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here for this game number 1. We see Bulldog dancing around with the pole camp there on the side, but obviously Burden United are kind of onto it at this point. And Paris now ventures away from his bottom lane. They leave it for the Ochre, and now he's looking to get involved, and this is kind of what we were used to seeing with the Batrider back in the day of 6.83 and before. Now he gets to work with the jungle a bit, builds up his farm, trying to get that Blink Dagger, but because they know he's alone on the bottom, well, hold that thought, they're able to get the quick, easy pick with the Rocket Barrage going for the Bounty Hunter, and then on the other side, they're going to go for My Nuts, and they get that kill. Both sides kind of recognize who's out there and available. They know that the Ogre's alone, so they capitalize on that, but at the same moment in the top lane, they scout out the Mad on the Bounty Hunter, and they get their own kill there. Everything so far has been very back and forth. You take one, I got one.
Yeah, it seems quite even actually for this early game, and I think one thing to mention is that the big camp up there that Batrider took, I think they shared the experience on it, so it wasn't too bad for them at all.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Bounty Hunter died there, but I think he took a large portion of that experience. They shared it between like 4 heroes.
Oh no! See, Bounty Hunter, this is where he's at his best. That was effortless. He just breathed on the bat and he fell over.
Getting a solo kill on a Batrider that actually looked pretty good in levels is tremendously important for the Bounty Hunter here. If he managed to get another level, he's going to be 6. And then you start with tracks. And if you don't watch out, a track can result into so much gold for your entire team.
Yeah, there'll be almost no coming back at that point. So good job from Mad. I mean, early on it seemed a bit questionable, but at this point he really makes it work, and that's the price you pay when you pick a Batrider into the Bounty Hunter. But here we go, the first call down of the game going to be dropping on top of him. The Wyvern eating a lot of damage, but Pycat as well, who made the rotation. He's actually the one who's going to go down, but Bulldog, desperate to get some redemption, jumps on in, does slay the dragon, and now he's going to look to retreat. Ends up being a 1-for-1 that is still at the better of Burden United, getting that precious core, but can they get more? Mynuts looking to move on in, but they don't have the detection to follow on up. Bulldog lays down the cogs, but Mynuts, he's like, I'm happy to go toe-to-toe with you. Now it's Bulldog on the run. Not much mana to work with. Look at the Rocket Barrage go right into the raises, and they're able to bring him down. Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. Advantage for Burden United.
That was a little bit unfortunate here for the side of Alliance. They tried to go at the same time. They were not expecting to for a gank happening towards on the top lane. So kind of unfortunate. On the other side is, I think Ogre should carry a dust on him. At least one person should carry that dust, because Bounty Hunter kills, especially when he's 5 now, they're actually quite valuable.
Oh yeah.
And you want to get those pickoffs.
We saw before all this. Meanwhile, Loda's getting his bit of farm on the bottom, 45 and 12 now for him. The big bread and winners are still between Pycat and Sing Sing at 51-50 CS apiece, so they're in a good spot right now. And Ogre is starting to build up those wards. It looks like he does have a sentry on hand now just in case, but that tower does go down and that money goes into the pocket of Loda. So a good big grab for them. But we're getting ready now to start developing towards that 10-minute mark in the early stages of the mid game. So when the supports are starting to get their level 6s online, Hani, who do you think at that point really takes the upper hand advantage, or maybe just has the better team fight at that point with their supports really coming together? Is it the Lion having the finger and all that additional burst, or is it maybe on the other side you look at the Winter Wyvern with his curse?
I think it really depends on the timing of the blink dagger on Batrider. For them, the initiation really matters on the Batrider, because anyone else can really initiate, right? You have a sure, you have a cooldown, it's okay races and a potential ogre stun, but it's still very hard to start a fight. On the side of Alliance, you wait for that level 6 on Lion. You have the finger, he is 5 right now, so that's still going to be a bit of a time. Then you have a Bounty Hunter who also needs a level 6, so you're pretty much going to work around that Clockwork Hook right now. And a potential Juggernaut ulti.
Necroman and company on the move with their smoke. That long-range curse just seems to come from another planet, and they're able to utilize it onto Loda. And because no one else was close, no one else going to get entrapped into it, just makes for an easy pick right there. And now suddenly we have an even game as far as kills go, 6-6. During this period, it looks like Sing Sing's going to take the opportunity to go for the jungle, but that's where Mad always seems to be. Goes right back in Viz. He's going to be stalking out his prey here, but he is just one man. He's not going to be able to do work on Sing Sing, obviously.
Sing spotted out on the top lane, they have a lane ward, and he spotted out that Clockwork was moving towards him. That's why he moved backwards, and he knew that Bounty Hunter was around. So right now he's just moving back to the lane. He kind of has the idea that Bounty Hunter is in the forest. Before, when Bounty Hunter TP'd onto the top lane, they had a sentry as well as an observer with there. So they 100% saw him walking by.
That's good recognition of game sense right there, to see the body language of someone like Bulba in the offlane. If he starts, hunting, hinting that he's going to be heading that way, then something's a bit fishy, especially with Bounty Hunter always off the radar. So good heads up there from Sing Sing, and obviously good ward placement to kind of get that bit of intel. So Mad is forced to go back on the move now. They really want to get what they can out of this track when possible. Loda back to his farming grace here. Are we going to be seeing more of the cookie cutter, if you will, Juggernaut build up like we saw from 6.83? It looks like for now he's got the bracer possibly for drums, also went with the Yasha on hand. Is there any sort of change up we're going to be having from a Jug, or anything that might be a special case for this particular matchup?
The only question I have whether or not is if you want to get a Mask of Madness anymore, because Mask of Madness was picked up just as a tool because you farm so fast with the movement speed, but the movement speed on the Mask of Madness got reduced. When I looked at Loda's items, he didn't have a Quelling Blade, and I'm wondering if he still wants to get that, because right now all he does is farm in forest, and it's way more efficient having a Quelling Blade on you. Sure, it doesn't work against Roshan, but overall it's still, it's just like 32% farming faster, right? Essentially. Yeah. And I'm wondering on the side of Burden, why is no one trying to do anything about that bottom lane?
That sentry, they see Mad. They're going to move on in with the call down the rocket barrage, but he just puts himself even closer onto the sentry, and they are going to be able to get him. So a good, easy pick that was kind of gifted to him at that point. And I gotta, also want to put a note. I wonder if they kind of have an idea that this Batrider has this blink. He was stalking him previously, saw him finish farming the jungle, start heading towards the base, maybe had an inkling that his blink had been completed at that time. So there's no more of that usual surprise we like to see with your Batrider. You get the blink in the dark, you get your smoke, and you make a good first debut with it.
I was going to say a slight misplay by the Batrider here. If he would have checked that Gyro, or Gyro should have maybe told him that there was a track going, they saw the movement of Batrider behind the tower. So this gang there was no way that this gang is going to be successful. He should, in theory, Sing should be the one telling that he's tracked, because he sees it on his hero without, you have to check over every hero, is he going to be tracked? So kind of a miscall there by Sing not telling him, but, well, unfortunately it does not result into a kill, right?
Yeah. Tower pretty low, but not low enough for the deny. Burn United wanted to be walking away with that extra bit of a cash prize, but it looks like they might step back and regroup here. But Alliance obviously know the Batrider has his blink, but mid lane there's going to be a breakout. Looks like a jump in for Bolagog, making a go on for Necroman. Necroman, can he make it away? But here's Paris from that rotation, able to get off the lasso. They get the easy pick on the Loda of all people, and Bulldog might be in trouble here next. They look to turn back with the raids, but it's not going to be on the mark. Necroman, oh, there it is, and that's a track kill, if you will. Good Shuriken bounce. They're going to be dishing out another track onto the Wyvern. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. Your core Jug for the core Shadow Fiend, plus you got to factor in that track gold.
Yeah. Overall, still it's an okay trade for both sides. Like, this game seems to be so even. It's always a back and forth in kills. Yeah. There's just exchanges happening. And like you were mentioning, there was a track going on, and I think 3 heroes shared that gold, so maybe the slight edge here for the side of Alliance, but it's minor.
Top, they were able to get that tier 1 was Burden United, so they get that little bit of a bonus there. It's still Sing Sing at the top of the net worth at this point. Actually, that was the gold. I was a little thrown up by that. There it is. He's still at the top of the net worth regardless. Thank you very much. Well, and then we look to Bulldog. He's been pretty proactive with his hook shot once he did get it. He's now working with this bottom lane here. And it looks like he's going to be going for the blade mail. That's pretty interesting. Do you think there's any sort of significance on why he feels that that's necessary as opposed to maybe pushing for a force staff or maybe, you know, something else a bit more mobile?
I mean, I think to me, blade mail is a common pickup on Clockwork. I don't think it's anything really surprising. If he would have gotten something like Eels, I would be like, oh, this is quite interesting.
My Nuts moves in like he can get something done, but he doesn't realize he is quickly outnumbered, and he may be big and bad, but oh, look at this, a save from the other side. Come with me on the high ground with his dragon, able to help him on out, but I don't think that's going to be enough, and that's another track set of gold into the pockets of Alliance. A good grab for them. They have to sweat it out a little bit, but I think they're going to be happy with the prize they've earned.
And if there's one thing you don't want to do is give away these track kills. It just means too much. You have to walk as a team. I guess that's the hardest part about playing against a bounty hunter. You can't give these pickoffs. Even a support that's very underfarmed is going to give you so much value because of a track. Essentially, if you have 5 heroes gathered around, it doesn't even matter. It counts kind of like a carry in a sense.
As far as item progression, we see the mech going to be complete on Necroman and his Shadow Fiend, and with that as well, we also see an early grab of the Soul Booster for Pycat. So obviously changing out those Arcanes. It looks like he's going to be going for the standard quick build up into your Bloodstone. So he's making fantastic pace, and of course credit for Mad being able to help out with those track picks. So they're in good standing right here. You have to fear a little bit. Burden United, they had that strong laning start, but their supports are still a bit starved right now. So being able to get them a bit of farm is very important.
Lotus was trying to find the Batrider here. On this side of Burden United, I feel like they need to make some plays with a Batrider. They haven't really tried to set any ganks up ever since he had that dagger, and to me it's the only initiation that they really have. Next to the Winter Riven, they could initiate with the ulti. They've done that onto Loda. It's pretty good just because it's instant and it has 800 range, so it's really hard for Loda to react to this. But other than that, the Yo's classic initiation is just smoke, Batrider, and you get a kill. And they have not tried to do that at all.
I mean, is it just because they're not really trying to go for it, or could it be a bit difficult? It seems like with this bounty hunter in the game, they always have that bit of intel, or he's constantly dishing out an occasional track. It's just kind of hard to get a scouting report, or maybe Burn United are just a bit nervous because of that. And, you know, if you do a bit of a misplay on trying to make a committed go with a lasso and you end up not trading in your favor, you're going to be handing even more possible track hold over to Alliance. So I don't know, maybe it's a factor of nerves, but we're not really seeing, as you pointed out, those big jump-ins from the Batrider quite yet.
I overall think is the one thing they tried to do it was on the top lane where Sing was tracked, so that doesn't really count to me, and they have not used the smoke yet to make a play such as that. So on the side of Burden United, I think that is a go-to, unless you want to smoke for a Roche or whatever, something like that could be also a play. But you can't, like, this is a situation for Burden that is very scary. If a gyrocopter is alone like that, Ake is gonna, he has his finger up.
Yep, he moves in. Call down does come from Sing. They get the track onto My Nuts, and they're able to finish him off. And then they followed up with Bulldog onto Sing. Sing, and they can get that kill here. Can they get the return to Pycat? The curse is there, but here comes the jump in from Paris. Looking to follow it up. Can they take down the ledge? They certainly can, making it at least a 2-for-1 trade. But nice finger comes out, and they're going to be able to clean up the Winter Wyvern. Come with me is going to go down, and now Necroman gets saved up a little bit, but he's still tracked up. They're on the prowl. Can Loda get the finishing blow here and secure even more of a bounty? It looks like they'll be able to. He has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and he will go down with a flurry. And that ends up being a 4-for-1 trade. My God.
And my original point was where Gyro is alone on that top lane, it can happen. You need to sit together, and they're not trying to find the initiation. And it really depends on, if you're the reactive team, you're usually behind. If you're not the one that makes the plays, your response is always going to be too late. And against a hero like a bounty, it's very crucial because it spirals so fast out of control. 1, 2, 3 track kills, you're suddenly far behind.
Oh man, a Dagon pickup suddenly on your bounty hunter. So you got even additional burst rather, so that is very scary. Some of these supports like your Winter Wyvern could be a bit fragile. You add that burst on top of where the burst that could be coming out from your finger just makes for easy pickoffs one after the other. And like you said, it feels like Burn United are not being proactive enough. The power curve they seem to give themselves at the early portion of this game, so they're kind of being a bit too submissive, it feels. And because of that, Alliance recognize it, they almost smell the fear, and they kind of just use that to their own power advantage. And I don't really foresee them really letting go. And it's more pressure on Bird United to kind of take this game back. They do manage to throw together the BKB onto Sing Sing, though, so they get that one defensive tool, but they still need more as far as damage goes.
What I see Pi often do is to just get that mana boots on Bounty Hunter. I actually feel like it's to me it's the better item.
Yeah.
Just because you need so much mana with the whole track, it just
Yeah.
You have no regeneration at all right now.
Maybe a bottle sometimes, but yeah.
Potentially, like
yeah.
if you aim for the Tranks, I just feel like having a bit of regen is quite nice, just because you want to throw at Tracks all the time, so you have information.
Yeah.
And information is power. And in this case, he doesn't have that. Sure, he has quite a big mana pool, but I think it's still very important to have some sort of sustain, and it would benefit a lot of heroes. I think Lion, in some sort of situations, when you're in the team fight, he needs a full mana pool to do something. Sure, he can mana drain, right? It's not like that, but same with Juggernaut. Healing Ward and the cost generally of the spells of Jugger are quite high, so having an additional mana boots is pretty good.
Well, for him personally, at least he's able to step off. He gets the Dagon, which of course will add the intel now and all that burst that we were already talking about here. But as you see, Bird United kind of cowering together. Oh, Mad going for a ballsy TP here, but sorry, buddy, you're not going anywhere. So they're going to be able to catch him out. They have to commit the Winter Wyvern ultimate for it, but hey, a kill is a kill at this point. Bird United happy to take what they can.
It usually isn't that big of a deal though. Bounty Hunter is supposed to scout, at least he gives information. He got another track out, so right now they at least know where their opponents are. So what Alliance essentially does right now is they just farm up. Are you happy with that situation where you go into late game just farming up?
Well, look at these two. Trading blows back and forth. Bulldog steps off for the hook shot, drops down very nicely placed cogs, but hey, look who can fly up and above, but still gets caught by it. I hate that. I'm in a game with a clockwork. I feel like I'm still like 4 feet away from the cog, but I'll still somehow get knocked by it, but he'll be able to make that clean escape. Good for him, but look at Paris. Flying on in. Now he's a froggy in the air, and they're going to be a catch him out. 1-2 punch comes out. It's Ake who gets the finishing blow with the Finger of Death, and they're going to be racking in another kill, and this time it's on the Bat Rider.
Slight miscommunication there. Leshrac was not following up on that stun, so Aki had to use his finger there. It was important, else Bat Rider would have potentially been out of there. But important kill.
Oh, man. Then, as you see, there's the Dagon going to play. He is able to kind of put himself into a, well, death cocoon. He's going to still get caught out from the cogs. Winter Wyvern goes down. Bulldog's going to be picking up that kill, and they just seem to continue to string one after the other. They can go right from one pickoff to the other. If it's a finger here, they'll still have a Dagon over there. They have, you know, the hook shot set up for this one. They'll have the Omni Slash for another. So Alliance seem to have plenty of weapons in their arsenal to make these continuous picks, and eventually they'll just have enough of an economy and enough items that they can decide then to go for the objectives, then maybe go for Roche. But right now it seems like they're very happy, you know, taking advantage of Bird United when they try to make a ballsy play or when they just find the picks themselves.
And again, these kills hurt a lot. It's track kills essentially, and you can't just throw away these single kills because they mean a lot more. On the side of BU, they still haven't made. To me, the team feels very disconnected. They have not made plays together. They were not trying to smoke up. They have not tried to make any plays happen. They're not aiming towards getting that bottom tower or getting that mid tower. They need to make something happen. They need to use that blink dagger off the Bat Rider. And essentially, if you don't do that, and the Alliance just keeps on getting track pickoffs, you're going to fall behind in a very fast pace.
And eventually your map becomes more and more restricted because you're not able to branch out and get those towers. Your farming options become limited, and then what limited farming options you got, you need to give to like Sing Sing on his gyro, which means your supports are just going to get nothing. They end up just kind of starving out at one point, and you're almost bottlenecked. They can't afford to be in that kind of position. So eventually they're going to need to decide to work together, move out there, find those objectives, find some sort of kill to lead to those objectives. But for right now, it just feels like Alliance they have a firm grasp on the game. Thankfully, though, Sing Sing continues to farm on up, still holding their neck and neck with Pycat at least on his Lesh, but he gets, you know, a Saint first. So the damage is still going to be prolonged quite a bit for your gyro. He's just going more of a defensive build-up first and foremost.
Just looking at the situation, I'm just trying to think of the next play here for both teams. BU, very obvious, like I mentioned. On the side of Alliance, I guess trading so far is okay. Maybe you just want to pump up that gold into the Juggernaut and try to get a bit more items. Potentially, I think he was going towards the Scotty now. Is that the play? Yeah. He is missing out on the Mask of Madness. I was mentioning earlier, it's just not that great of an item anymore because you don't get this crazy amount of movement speed.
Yeah. But he gets to SNY, so that helps a little bit with move speed. Plus his phase boot, so he's still pretty fast. He's just not race car fast like he used to be. So,
but the first smoke here, or as a team smoke for BU, it's 24 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
It just seems very late to me.
Oh,
and potentially Loda
could
even
lose it.
scouts
Oh, this would be heartbreaking. And they already can see one pop, but they don't know if it's him. They don't know if it's maybe a bounty hunter who's kind of scouting him out. And it looks like the smoke is just going to amount to nothing here, Ronnie. That is heartbreaking if you're a BU fan. And all the meanwhile, they're just like, well, we know where you are, so we're going to continue to pressure this top lane. And really, what are you going to do about it? Matt is looking to scout out from behind the tower here. Oh, he's going to be a little too late if he wanted to dish out the track. Oh, drops a sentry, but they quickly deny it with their own... they drop an obs and it gets scouted out there from the BU sentry. So at least they'd be able to get that little 50.
And it doesn't really seem like a team decision. The Shadow Fiend is trying to get that bottom tower, which he essentially is not getting. Now we have a TP rotation of Alliance towards that bottom tower. Getting that deny on the tower is pretty good. Another, half the goal is just not good enough here. And it's very disconnected because the top tower it dropped more than 50% HP, and you just have to figure out what you want to do. And BU again, they just seem to not have a clue how to move as a team. They just very disconnected in their play.
It feels like just this bounty hunter, Matt, is just could be such a headache at this point. Seems like he's always there. He's always dishing out the tracks. They ping him out, and then they're kind of uncertain if there's going to be a follow-up with him or if he's looking to make a committed dive onto something. It's just doesn't seem to really be happening for him. So, it's something we question as far as that early second pick, but clearly seems to be something that he's very comfortable with, at least for now. So we'll see if that's the case or not. It still just stands that Alliance are in good standing at this point. So.
And it looks like Loda is getting soon into that zone where he's comfortable with items. So far, all he did is pretty much just farm. He just farmed. We see Lesh and Juggernaut pretty much on top of the scoreboard, whereas you have a Shadow Fiend. He's not just on par with the Gyrocopter. And I believe it comes down to that there's little decision making.
Okay, jumping lasso, it's on the Pycat, who already popped his BKB. Meanwhile, an Omni/No goes on to Nuts. Nuts is going to get saved up. Finger's still there. They're really trying to burst down the Ogre, but on the other side of the fight, they're going to make the turnaround, go into Pycat, and Pycat's going to be the one to go down. So it's a trade between him and the Ogre. Now they're looking to follow up, trying to get hold of Loaded. The Rocket's already going to be out. Bulldog, though, interjects, jumps in, gets a nice set of cogs on the Necroman. He's going to be in trouble. Big stun to fly on out, and it's a triple kill. Of all people, goes to Ake on the Lion. Now it's Alliance looking to turn and take back the fight. Desperate TP force out from Paris is going to be successful, but look at this. It's Mad on the prowl. He wants to train a dragon. It looks like that's going to be the form of come with me. He goes down, and it's more track cold for Alliance. Turns out to be a 4-for-2 trade when you count the Lishrak drop, but he's already back to life because of the Bloodstone overall, and you can see it right there in the gold. It's very profitable for Alliance.
Great reactions there by Pycat. If he wouldn't have gotten that BKB out before he gets lassoed, the fight would have been actually quite terrible. He managed to pretty much delay the fight a lot so the team could catch up, because this fight was looking pretty good for the side of BU here.
Yeah, I mean, they even pull him over to the side away while Alliance have their hands full with the Ogre, but as you see right there, they can't really do much to Pycat because of the BKB, and it takes longer than they would like.
And as you can see on the bottom, that Bounty on the TP on the second tower, he was so far away at that point of this fight.
But they get there in time, especially Bulldog. He jumps right in, catches Sing Sing, it looks like off guard, and because that, they're able to easily turn around. Load is already in the safety zone. They're managed to drop Necroman, and this is where they could just turn it right back onto him. Paris, luckily to make it out, but Come With Me was not so lucky. So back to the farming grace for Alliance here. They're already in a great spot at this point, and it looks like they have eyes to at least scout out the Roche, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something they consider going for themselves. They might need to get a pick before they can easily secure it first, but they just seem to be... I feel like I'm a broken record at this point, but they're just getting what they want at this point over and over again.
Yeah, right now we saw the Bounty Hunter picking up Dagon 3. I'm usually a fan of keeping a Dagon 1 and then having a dagger so you have another escape mechanism when you want to track people, so you can play a bit more aggressive on the track, because you can just get caught by a Bat Rider.
Yeah.
And essentially you can also just, go further aggressive into the jungle where you scout out a bit more, then you get a track off. You just feel a lot safer having a dagger on you. He goes for the burst, which is not terrible.
Oh, lasso. They scout out Pycat. They pull him back. They get the call down there. A jump that comes out from Bulldog, and it's a big cog catch. He's able to force himself away from trouble here, but the fight's going to become split. Paris will make it go into Bulldog. Come With Me gets slashed on the part. Mad secures another kill with the track and dishes them out. Raccoon going to fly. Really good damage on the load. Going to be able to finish him off, but look at the Ravage coming out. out from Ake with his Lion. But when the dust settles, this is a profitable fight for Burden United. The biggest one they've had what feels like almost all game. They do walk away because of that minor rubber band rebound. They do come out with a pretty damn significant XP advantage.
That was quite a big ulti by Necroman there. He actually hit the perfect timing on the Jugger ulti when it stopped, so Jugger just dropped instantly to like 40% health there. And it looks like a buyback from Jugger, but is he able to do anything in this fight?
Oh, they really want to contest. Mad dishing out the track, trying to get the intel while they're working into the pit. But here's Loda. He's already on the scene. He's looking to move on forward, but he does not have that Omni Slash, so he's doing this out of solo. Just starts spinning in there. Ake again with a big stun. How does this guy do it? Catches it big, follow up with the finger, and now it's on to Mad. They are able to bring him down. Ake getting himself out and away from a corner, but Burden United's still going to be able to hold their own. Roche is only down to about half life here, but look at Pycat charging on forward. Not going to be able to catch the Earth Split here. On the other side, this just becomes a bit discombobulated from both sides. Minot's, though, very smart for mana. Not going to be able to make it away as Bulldog shows up in the nick of time to catch him out with the cogs. He gets saved temporarily from the Winter Wyvern, but can't save him from the Dagon, the upgraded one that comes out from Mad. And because of that, Come With Me, desperate to try to contest the Roche, but he gets himself up to a pedestal, but it's a pedestal of death. He still goes down, and it's Alliance who are able to take away the Roche for themselves. Oh, it looks so helpful for Burden United, but Alliance, the Heartbreakers here.
And when the fight starts, I was mentioning how I was kind of not very comfortable with the buyback by Loda, but when you see a stun from Ake like that, I mean, man. I would take that fight if I can be that confident in hitting that kind of stun.
I mean, Merlini said in the draft he felt that the supports for Alliance were a bit silent. Well, they're screaming out now that they got the skill to back it up, and wow.
But next to Ake's great initiations in terms of stuns, like it's pretty much ravages from him.
Oh yeah.
But Admiral Bulldog as well.
Oh yeah.
His hook shots are spot on in these fights. He before the fight he got a 3-man cock. It looked like that, and then he forced himself out. And the second one was just a clutch catch. And these Ake, especially as well as Bulldog, they are performing here.
These guys are veterans on the side of Alliance.
They know what's on the line here.
They've been to the big show, the biggest show. This can almost feel like just a walk in the park at this point for what they've been, used to. But well, Mad, fortunately, a little out past the safety zone. They have that Sentry Ward in the mid lane. He ends up feeding a little bit over, but it's not anything too devastating to Alliance. But this is good for Burden United. Because of this kill, they can finally push on forward and take this Tier 1 tower. Finally, all 3 Tier 1s go down, but now they have to consider a way to break on past and go for the Tier 2s. That Aegis, though, still on the side of Alliance. They have that extra life advantage, but BU, they continue to work together, and they just continue to truck down this mid lane.
Matt really wants to finish that Dagon fight before getting any utility. And they actually spot out Loda here.
Oh, they're going to see him in time. He gets down the ward, quickly rises. He might be spotted out, goes for a spin, but they've already put their sights on the Ake. They pull him back. They get rid of that little lion, and he did have a little bit of a bounty on his head, a mega kill streak worth 601 gold pieces, and they're also going to take the tower. So, honey, all day, they take the Mad Bounty Hunter down. They get Tier 1, they get Tier 2, plus the lion. That's a pretty big sweep their way.
And that was such a respect play to me. Batrider, if I was Batrider, I would take the carry over the support anytime. I felt like he had all the vision with that ward set down that he could have gone for Jugger there. And if he went for the Jugger with a follow-up Winter Riven ultimate, he would have been dead. I'm pretty sure he would have been dead. Oh, he does have the Aegis though. Oh my, that's on me. He has the Aegis though. He actually has the Aegis, so it was the right play.
No, I mean in that heads-up moment for someone to think that straight, I agree with you. You'd see someone like Jug, and you're like, that's the profitable grab. You got to go for it. But yeah, he has that extra life, and I don't think all that necessary action probably would have been worth just ridding of the Aegis alone. So instead, taking advantage of that just micro rebound factor and being able to get themselves back to the game is very profitable for them.
That could have been me in game there. I would have gone for it.
But it just goes to show that any player in those shoes, in the heat of the moment, you never really know, and that's what can separate someone who has their head in the game and someone who just kind of can panic almost at that moment. So I guess send some props to Paris for making the right decision at that moment. But is that enough though? Is that enough for Burden United to make their way back into this game?
I would say it's still quite even. I feel like the Winter Riven, he's such a good counter to Jugger, where usually when Jugger can start an ultimate, he seems to be like, he's very confident in his play, right? He goes in, he just omni-slashes someone, but he has to watch out every time he uses that ulti, and so far Winter Riven always countered him quite well on the omni-slash usage. So it's not as easy for Loda at all to get a good ultimate off here.
And with that, it looked like they're going to be able to charge down this bottom lane, the south side for Burden United, as this tier 2 in jeopardy. Pycat, of course, with that edict, just kind of melts through these towers like butter. And yeah, you see Mad still dishing out the tracks.
We see a bit of split pushing going on, but it doesn't seem as decisive. They're not going for the split push fast enough, and it hurts a lot. You're losing a tier 2, you're not getting anything done on your tier 2, and you know, essentially,
yeah.
Your map gets smaller and smaller.
What we saw right there before Necroman TPing out, he was tracked, and because he was tracked from kind of an unknown spot without being spotted, they kind of get the idea that there are wards in their jungle. They're already pinging it out. They're going to need to kind of debunk that. Looks like they're already on the scene. He drops a sentry, but it's not near the ward. I guess they just didn't think it would be in the obvious spot, but it actually was. So double mind games or something, but regardless, Alliance still get that extra bit of intel in the deep woods of Burden United.
It's a minor thing here, but when I look at Leshrek's item, I look at that power treads, I'm a bit confused. He got those power treads after he had the mana boots,
Yes,
right? And the soul booster.
Normally boots of travel, right?
I'm just wondering if you want to keep those as brown boots, but I guess he enjoys having those power treads and extra hits, potentially a bit more HP on top of that. But is it gonna... I just feel like you want to exchange those fairly quickly.
Yeah. And eventually he'll probably build into some serious life that even power treads might not be necessary for. Let's say if he decides to, after the Shivas, go for like an Octarine core, then you're pretty damn big for a Leshrac, and the boots don't really seem to match up. And eventually you're going to want to maybe get that extra bit of mobility like the boots of travel. So we'll see what he decides to do with the little brown boots there. But using their little booties, it's Alliance walking around all smoked up, trying to catch an opportunity for maybe catching up Burden United. But I don't know if the smoke was scouted. They're in a very defensive position just inside their own baseline.
I'm not entirely sure if it was scouted either, but you can clearly see that Burden United knows what's up. No one is showing on any lane, and it's the right decision to just stick together in base. At least for the time when people are missing, having like 1 minute, probably around that time, you know, okay, the smoke is gone. At least you're not running into the smoke anymore. And then if you move out together, and they are moving out together right now, it's a good decision making that you should still stick together if you can't see anyone. But at least like 1 minute, staying back 1 minute is pretty good. Just because you know, you could still be in a very disadvantage because everyone else around you can be invis, and that can be very tough for you.
Good heads up, they're not going to make the immediate jump onto the illusion, but speaking of jumps, it's Bulldog making the jump onto Paris. Paris able to pop his BKB, but he dies so damn fast, just that quick slash at the end is able to bring him on down. And now the threat of the Bat Rider off the field for almost a minute with no buyback. Ooh, nice little force right there. Don't know if that stun would have connected regardless, but it's better to play safe against someone like Ake, who seems to be on par with his stuns. So still 40 seconds, no Bat Rider. Are we expecting Alliance to kind of take advantage of this 5v4? I don't think Roche is going to be up quite yet, but yeah, they got a little bit of time before even the 8-minute mark. But, you know, it's their time.
He's fat. He has a lot of items. That's a dagger, a 4-step, and he's working towards a potential hex, I assume. Maybe a Linken's. He could actually work towards that Linken's as well to help against that Winter Riven ultimate.
Oh, yeah.
It could be.
And the Bat Rider lasso.
Yeah, exactly. It could be actually quite a good item to have here. On the side of Burden, I'm not sure what you want to do here. I was actually considering the draft scenario, and what is happening?
They're trading. This is a ward battle, and Ake's like, you want to go for the ward? I'm going to go for you. He jumps in with Mad. They get the kill. They get the ward, and they're like, don't even think about it. Oh, disrespect from Alliance here. And hookshot going to be coming up short. Looks like they tried to make a go on to come with me, but they're not going to get it.
Usually it's quite a bad sign if you know a line is around and you are tracked up, you probably just leave that ward alone. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Instead, you give a track kill away. Again, this hurts.
It's a lot of gold.
Yeah.
One thing that is going for Burden United is because all the meanwhile, Sing Sing must have really had his nose to the grindstone for his farm. He's still king of net worth, not by a lot. Nipping at the heels, of course, is Pycat and Loda and his Jug. But is this one gyrocopter really going to be enough? Shadow Fiend for now just seems to be a little behind. So it seems like it's going to be more pressure on Sing Sing to dish out that flat cannon spread across the whole team of Alliance and bring it back.
Yeah, that's very true. And going back to my original point here, your only real initiation is a Batrider.
Yeah.
Getting something done is mostly over that Batrider. And they picked the Batrider as the last pick into a Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is actually fairly good against the Batrider, just because once you have the track off, Batrider needs potentially having something like eels, you know, so he gets rid of that track quickly, because you don't want to be in vision at all, or you want to get a Shadow Blade, something like that, so he can stay away from a Bounty Hunter. Then Bounty Hunter at least needs something like a gem.
Yeah.
But having none of that, and your entire initiation relies on being the Batrider, it's quite tough for you.
I mean, maybe off the top of your head, I'm trying to think about it as well, could there have been other options for the offlane that can still fill that role like a Batrider on being a good initiator? Popular the pickups have been like a Beastmaster. He could be pretty strong, give a blink to him, and he'd be able to set it up. But, you know, it's reaching back to this Batrider, not quite in the heyday like it used to be.
Not sure if there could be any other here, but we see smoking happening.
They're moving in. This is very sketchy. They're so close. They don't even know yet. Oh, Sing moves right into a Hex. He's not going to be able to get the BKB off. They're going to burst him down. Meanwhile, Paris still gets the pullback on the Pycat. Necroman getting off the Requiem. They might be able to burst down Mad here. Yes, they will. Paris is able to torch him on down. Sing holds strong. Drops down the call down. He gets a killing spree for himself as he charges on in. This might be Burden United's time. They're able to clear it on out, but Pycat gets his own set of kills before he's going to be dropped here. Loda not going to be able to scout out Paris. Paris going to make it away, and oh, Bulldog thought about trying to get him. Not close enough, of course, for the battery assault. When the dust does settle, it's a 3 for 3 here. A core apiece, but it is Sing who also ends up going down here. That was a very hairy kind of a situation for two teams to meet in the jungle front.
I'm actually considering still right now is if the BKB of Gyrocopter is not popped and you get that defensive spell of the Winter Riven, can you purge it off? Is it diffusal possible to take that off? Because it seems so strong in these fights.
Yeah, you see it right there. Now, they kind of stacked the ultimates together. The lasso was used on Pycat, then they used the curse also. So it's a lot of hate for one goat, man. Paris is able to move to the back, clean out the backstaff here. Okay, sends himself into a call down, so that doesn't really work out too well for him. But yeah, Bulldog also coming in from behind with the help of Loda as well, and they're able to kind of dish out and take down what's necessary. So, almost ends up a bit of a wash, but, you know, with the game has already progressed, and now you have Alliance able to kind of move into the Roche pit here. Uh-oh, we might see contention. Look who's nearby. A flame break early, not going to be able to bump into the high ground. Oh, can we see a steal play here? It doesn't look like they're going to go for it. You have Mad on the meanwhile scouting him out. Oh, okay, nice jump. It's the Hex and the finger fall up, trying to go for Paris, and Bulldog makes the jump into 2, able to finish off Come With Me. Now looking to go for My Nuts. My Nuts able to bump his way out of there. Mad going to get caught up with the lasso. He ends up going down, makes it a 1-for-1 trade between two supports, and now Sing charging on forward. Loda, though, persistent, looking to make his move. Doesn't want to overcommit here, even with the Aegis on hand.
I do understand the play there by Ake. He just wanted to be reactionary. He wanted to make that jump before Batrider potentially jumps into steal. But it didn't even look like Batrider was attempting to go for that steal. Overall, I do understand though. I assume it was the right play. You want to just make sure you get that Aegis and it does not fall into the hands of the Batrider there.
Yeah, usually if the Batrider is going for the kill, he'll like try, from what I've seen at least, you time out that flame break to get it right the last moment so you can spread them apart, jump and snag the Aegis and get the hell out of there. But it was a bit early, just kind of maybe getting an idea as far as what Alliance were doing in there. But yeah, that quick correction from Ake puts him in a bit of an awkward spot. They end up trading blow for blow here.
I'm still looking for the mobility on Bounty Hunter. I felt like he gets too close in these fights. He just dies so fast. His 900 HP just blows up.
So much of an investment to get this Dagon leveled up.
He has a Dagon 5 now, right?
Yeah.
That's 5.
But that's what
that's 4. Okay, that's 4. He has Dagon 4, but that's it. And I don't agree on leveling it a bit higher. I don't really think it does that much. I feel like he could have been a lot more active in these fights by just tracking up people. You want to track, because Jugger just gets kited. As soon as Bounty is down, you don't have that 20% movement speed anymore. And you're not going for Mask of Madness, so you essentially you rely on another tool that speeds you up. And if Bounty dies, the fight gets a lot harder. And the previous fight, the one not Erosion, but the one before, if Pycat was not able to get 3 kills there, and if he would have died just a second earlier, the fight would have been catastrophic for the side of Alliance, just because Jugger gets kited.
It might not get any easier, though, for Burn United. We saw that Ake almost has that Linken's complete, so those big ultimates that have been working pretty well for Burn United to kind of keep them in this game with that setup might not be as easy here. I saw the Perseverance was already done, so just a recipe away before he gets that extra tool. Yep. So with that, Burn United still moving as a group here. Get that out of the Roche pit. Paris able to quickly deny out the item, but here they pull back, and we're almost still at a bit of a wash.
Holy Hannah, he's fat. That Clockwork has items, but he went for the Lincolns over getting an Agnems. It's interesting item choice, but I guess they really want to have that Lincolns for the carries.
Really want to make sure both Pycat and Loda do not run into too much trouble. So I guess fair enough as it is. And oh, look at this.
We have to dig in 5. At least now he's set to go for mobility.
Finally, he can get something else. So we'll see what that something else might be. And a Yule's also done for Paris on his Bat Rider. So I feel like that might be something a bit more defensive, perhaps. I guess it gets rid of a track if necessary, but could also make a bit of a setup, or at least just toss someone like Loda or Bulldog or whoever up in the air, get him out of the fight.
It was a bit better against the old track when it was somewhat longer, but now at 5 seconds it's not as great. But
a bit irrelevant, yeah.
It's just like if you're tracked up, it's super annoying as Bat Rider to stay there for like what 45 seconds. It's around there, right?
Yeah.
For the amount of track, and then you just sit there, and you can pretty much just wait. Unless you're farming, you're in a position where you don't really accomplish anything.
Yeah. 30 seconds apparently. Thank you very much. I believe Scriff right there as our obs, scouting it on out and giving us a bit of info, but it still feels like an eternity at this point in the game. 30 seconds. So yeah, we'll have to see. Hey, plus you get that little bit of extra move speed on your Bat Rider, but. Here they go. We don't see very often Burn United kind of crossing that river, looking for anything aggressive. Normally it's Alliance going into their neighborhood, but maybe they're feeling a sense of confidence. But as that happens, Bulldog makes a jump in. Good force save. Is going to be helping out with Come With Me. But are they going to make the follow-up here? Ake's looking to move on in. It's a nice little choke point, so they're kind of second-guessing their commitment. There's going to be the call down, and now Loda going to get caught up with the lasso, pulled back while he does go for the Blade Fury, but they're going to be able to easily focus him. He is going to get the Omni Slash off. They're going to try to stay alive here. Another big stun from Ake from the high ground here. Necroman's going to end up going down. Sing Sing, who is tracked up, trying to go for blow with Loda, but you're not going to be winning that fight. Ends up being a 3-man takedown. Alliance lose no one. Good kind of second jump right there. They thought they could just immediately go in. They double back a bit, and then they kind of reanalyze, it seems, this situation, and then they go on forward, and, well, they end up walking away the big victor. Man, look at that XP gold swing. Now it's Alliance's time. They're charging down this mid lane. They want to start doing some base damage, and already it's going to force Sing Sing to dish out the buyback.
For a moment I was a bit afraid there with Loda's play, but I just didn't see that Aegis. Okay. I do not know why, but what happened there with Loda though is Loda to me is one of those players that if he needs a crit or he needs a bash, he gets those. And he just got in that, when he used his Omni Slash, he got a crit onto the Winter Ribbon. Oh. And if he didn't get that, the Winter Ribbon could have potentially used any spell. But he died on a crit, and that essentially made the Omni Slash pretty good.
Loda praying to RNGesus, and RNGesus delivers. What a big surprise for a guy who's invested so much time into Dota. I guess he has to get rewarded with something after all. But there you see the Lincolns is going to be complete on Ake. Now you have double Lincoln Sphere now, so I assume probably sharing it one apiece for their cores, whoever might try to be the frontliner at this point. They didn't seem to do any real significant damage in the base. Overall, it did, of course, cost Sing Sing his buyback. So another big fight. If it tends to go sour for Burn United, then they might be noticing some real
look at
work.
that Bounty Hunter. That next item he's going for.
What is it?
That's a Force Staff.
Oh, the
mobility.
Force Staff.
He's getting the mobility.
Yep.
It's not a dagger, but I'm alright. Having that Force Staff, it's something, right?
Yeah. You can always use it on an ally if you need to, save them in a bit of a pickle. Why not, right?
Pretty good. Yeah. And we have a smoke here by Alliance now. I'm wondering what they're trying to achieve. I guess they're just walking down the mid lane.
Oh, but a smoke play from Burn United. Will they get to a point where they can creep in from behind here? Doesn't look like it. Looks like the opportunity might have to pass. And
they see everyone there.
Uh-oh. Suddenly Alliance is like, what are they doing over there? They're going to make the jump in. Immediate jump of the Omni Slash. Sing Sing is dead. No buyback. And this has gone to hell for Burn United. Alliance in a prime position from that high ground are just going to commit on forward. They immediately reduce 3. And I do not blame them for this. They throw in the towel. It is GG. And of this best of 2, your first match is going to go to Alliance.
Quite a questionable play there by the support side, destroying the observer ward when you're smoked. You know Alliance does not show up, so there's a pretty big chance that they're smoking themselves. You take the vision away, Gyrocopter moves by, he's in vision, so the fight starts completely on the side of Alliance.
That was just, it was heartbreaking for them to see right there, but what do you think it was? It felt like it was pretty good at the start for Burn United, but then we were talking about how they might have felt a bit reserved. They had this Bat Rider, they had this Blink Dagger, but they weren't really using it. We weren't seeing like smoke movements come out. It seemed like they were just a bit too perplexed maybe with the Bounty Hunter kind of being up in their face and dishing out those tracks. What was the point where Burn United really couldn't get the game back their way, or what were we kind of hoping for them to do to kind of get themselves back into it?
I felt like essentially Bat Rider needs to do more, but